Americans are known for their friendliness generally, and this is something I'm really proud of because I love how it's easy to start a conversation, but more or less we believe in a liberal arts education, which means you get a lot of information about a lot of different subjects, and then in your third year, you decide what you're going to study.
Hello and welcome to 20 Minutes Abroad, the podcast where we talk about different cultures from different countries. My guest today is Michelle. Michelle is originally from the US. The first question I have for you is, what is the biggest difference between the American culture and the Austrian culture?
I can think of three specific differences. Number one, the cake and coffee culture. So of coming together and having cake and coffee. I love this. This is my number one favorite thing here in Austria. In the States, we get more coffee to go, and it's more of a grab a coffee and let's move while we're drinking the coffee. So go for a walk or something like this. But I love the idea of sitting in a cafe, relaxing and getting into a good conversation. The other thing is the public transportation. Mm-hmm. Here, living in Graz, Austria, or I live just outside of the city, it's easy to take the train, tram, public bus, public transportation, or I can ride my bike. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely love this. It makes everything really accessible. Of course, in the States, we have cities that have really good public transportation, but I grew up just outside of Seattle, Washington, and it was a little bit more difficult to take public transportation on a regular basis. The other big thing, and we'll probably talk about this more later, is the friendliness. Americans are known for their friendliness generally, and this is something I'm really proud of because I love how it's easy to start a conversation. It's usually small talk, but it's something to at least get the conversation started. And if you meet someone on the street, there's generally a smile that takes place, or a hi, how's it going? What's up, sort of thing. And I really appreciate this.
Nice, yeah. Okay, then we're gonna talk about that a bit later.
Sure.
But for now, we have a second question for you.
Great.
And this question you can pick yourself. So we have some cards here.
Ooh, I love
or like bus and
I hope
airplane
I get
tickets.
Nice. I hope
one.
I get a lucky card. Let's take this first one.
There's a number on it.
Oh, very nice. Number 6.
Number 6, thank you. Then the question I have for you, number 6, do you take on the city by yourself or get a tour guide or jump on a hop-on, hop-off bus?
Ooh, great question. I enjoy exploring cities on my own. I usually do a little bit of research beforehand, just a little bit. And then I love to go from coffee shop to coffee shop. As you can see, there's a theme, coffees. I love to just kind of get a feeling for the city. But I have to put a plug in here. There's an amazing app that I got to be a part of called On Tours. And it's the option to do hop on, hop off on your own with this app that you're listening to. So you can move through the city on public transportation, again, a running theme in my life, and listen in, and you get to hear either my voice in English or some other lovely voices in German, and I think there's also plans for other languages. So this would be a great option. I'm looking really forward to exploring some new-to-me cities like Porto with this app.
Then let's start with the first topic area, where we will explore a little bit more about the stereotypes of Austrians. Yes. So you've lived in Austria on and off for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And I think that makes you able to judge the stereotypes a bit, yeah. So before you came here, did you know about stereotypes about Austrians, and did they turn out to be true or not so much?
Well, every American knows the movie Sound of Music. Yeah. It's a beautiful film. And one of my favorite scenes in the film is where Maria, the nanny of this large family, cuts and sews lederhosen and dirndl from the curtains of this, chalet or big house. And they turn out so cute, and then they go run in the hills and sing all these wonderful songs in their homemade lederhose and dirndl. Anyhow, that was a bit of my stereotype. Oh, lederhose and dirndl, singing, running across the meadows, things like this. part of it is true in the sense, yeah, Austrian clothes are amazing. I happen to own, I think, 5 Dirndl and 2 Lederhose. I love them. I'm a big fan of Austrian clothes. And this running in the fields, singing, there's not really singing while you run in the fields, but there are amazing fields and hillsides. And sometimes I have to pinch myself a little bit because it's the feeling in these fields is just like, oh my gosh, this is Sound of Music. This is a movie. And this is quite fun. Yeah. Very kind of superficial cliches, but fun nonetheless.
I think it's kind of funny that you mentioned the Sound of Music.
Yes.
Because I've talked to a lot of people from other countries, and most people talk about the movie before or when they're here, because that's why they're here.
Yeah.
But I don't think a lot of Austrians actually saw that film.
That's true.
It's not a thing here to watch that.
That's really true. Yeah. And I have to say the movie is beautiful, and it definitely puts Austria in a good light. So Austria has nothing to be ashamed about. It's a beautiful film. And then, yeah, I would highly recommend watching it.
Maybe I should know what other people think about our country.
Yeah. It might be an interesting perspective of like outside in.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. And if we put the question the other way around, have you encountered any stereotypes that people have about Americans here?
Very often I feel like there's this expectation that we Americans need to bring a lot of energy, a lot of positivity and optimism. And for the most part, that's true. But we Americans are also normal people and have our ups and downs. So I kind of wish that there wasn't this assumption of like, oh yeah, everything's just going fine, isn't it? Sort of thing. I would say with my business, so I'm working in communication. I am a communication expert and have my own business, Target Language Communication, where I offer business English training and individual coaching. And I've positioned myself that I'm focusing on this communication field. And so I don't feel like my clients put me in a box. They're eager to learn about communicating with international target groups, and specifically with the American market.
That's nice. Because there's like a lot of stereotypes that in Europe, like mainly that the Americans don't know anything about Europe.
Yeah.
So, did you have that experience? Like when you think about people from America, that they don't really know a lot about Europe?
Well, there's oftentimes this confusion between Austria and Australia. And so true. I always say I live in Austria in Central Europe.
Yeah.
But I also say I live in the city where Arnold Schwarzenegger is from. And that is like, aha, they get it immediately. And that's quite practical.
That's good. I say I have something that they all know.
Exactly. And so then instead of Central Europe, because then you can see like, what might be the neighboring countries. It's just easier to say Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then, they're good to go.
That's fun. Okay, so you already talked a bit about your working life, and you also have working experience in the US. So how would you describe the working life in the US?
It's hard to generalize as a whole, but I think if I were to use like some key words, it might be like the daily grind. So this is just like pushing forward, being motivated. So being motivated is definitely rewarded. And what else? In comparison with Austria, I'd say there's fewer perks in the sense of, for example, sick leave is very often limited in the States versus here. I find it quite generous if there's really some sort of health issue that's taking place. There's the possibility to be home for a few weeks or even a few months here in Austria. And oh man, I think that's just absolutely amazing.
And also in terms of a healthy work-life balance, because a lot of people say that in Austria we have a pretty healthy balance of the both of these sides. Would you say that it's different in the US?
I think it really depends on the company culture. So people talk about how, for example, Google has all these perks of veggies and fruits and fun games and stuff in the office. I don't know that firsthand, but you hear about those type of things. On the other hand, the employees have to work super hard and around the clock. So there's definitely advantages and disadvantages. Another topic is that a lot of times people have to commute, so drive to work fairly far. So in the past, a friend of mine commuted almost 1.5 hours one direction to work. He got to live in a very beautiful location, and his work was then over a small mountain range and then in the valley on the other side.
I think that's in Austria also, if you don't live in one of the cities, then on the countryside, it's very normal to drive like at least half an hour or more to get into work. So
that's true.
It's pretty similar here.
That's true. But I have the impression that's changing a little bit, where people have this wish to be in the countryside or in these suburb areas. And so they're wanting that, but then they drive. And I find that's a little bit maybe of an American influence that's come in the last 15 years or so. That's my impression.
Yeah, because so everyone wants the benefits of like a silent environment for their home, but then still have the benefits of the city. So
that's right.
Then let's wrap up the first topic area here.
Sounds good.
And we're going to play a little game together. Ooh. So we have 2 boards next to each other.
Okay.
Our names on it. Yeah. And we're going to get 3 questions. It's a guessing game, so we have to guess the answer, write it down on the board, and then I count to 3, and then we show it to the camera. And who's closest to the actual answer gets a point. So
okay.
2 out of 3 wins. Okay. Yeah.
Do you already know the question?
No, I don't know the question.
Oh, nice.
So it's as much as a guessing game for me as it's for you.
Perfect. This is cool. I love a good little blackboard.
Cool. Yeah.
How many casinos are there in Las Vegas? Definition is more than 15 gambling machines, but no bingo or sportsbook places.
And we just write an approximate number.
Yeah. It's really hard to guess the actual answer.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
I say 200.
I guessed 115.
Roughly 150.
15!
Ooh, okay. So you are close.
Wait, I'm closer. Okay.
Okay, point for you. Yes.
I hope so. In There's also some paper. Perfect. Oops.
Very nice.
So.
Okay.
Okay, next question.
Everybody knows that the Nile is the longest river in the world at 6,650 kilometers. But what is its maximum width in kilometers?
The Nile is
the
river.
Nile River. The Nile River.
The
maximum width.
Sorry. In kilometers. Or... Okay. 3, 2, 1.
2 kilometers.
3 kilometers.
2.8 kilometers.
Oh, nice. Well done. Come on, I need some more American trivia.
Nice.
Well done.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's do the third question.
How much money in US dollars does an American middle-income couple spend on raising a child till the age of 17?
Ooh, a lot.
A lot. Three, 2, 1. I'd say 200,000.
So 600,000.
Woo. Ah.
The answer is from an American economic think tank, and the number is from 2023. 310,605 US dollars.
Okay, so you're closer.
Wow.
Still a lot.
That's really a lot of money. Wow.
Then imagine your child is sick and you have to pay for all the hospital.
Yeah, right. My gosh.
That's
a great question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. So,
Cool. So, do we have to get to 3 points? Or is that just 3 questions?
It's 3 questions.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you. But you still get a little present for us, just for being here.
Oh, thank you. Nice throw. Thank you. Oh, Mozartkugeln. Yes.
I hope you like them.
So I love them. I
really
love them. So my family actually has Austrian relatives, and they would often visit us, and they always brought us Mozartkugeln. And so we had like a drawer at home full of them, and my brother doesn't like them very much.
It's good for you.
I know. I love these. Thank you.
Nice. Okay, then let's start into our second topic area.
Yes.
And you already mentioned before the moving around in the US and going to different places for college and stuff.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about the educational system in the US.
Great.
I think that's pretty interesting. So how come that the American educational system is so different
To the Austrian
in the sense of colleges and stuff? Because it's like, I think there's a lot of pressure on American students to get into big Ivy League universities and colleges, and it's not like that here. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, just to give like a quick background on our system. So we have the preschool, elementary school, middle school, high school. And then in high school, people have to decide if they want to continue their education or not. And then there's the option of community college. That would be 2 years. And then you would go on to a university, or you could start at the university. And in the US, more or less, the first 2 years of university are the same everywhere. So, of course, people might say Ivy League schools are a little bit better quality or a lot better quality. But more or less, we believe in a liberal arts education, which means you get a lot of information about a lot of different subjects. And then in your third year, you decide what you're going to study. And I think people choose different universities where to go based on interest in living in a different city or a different state, or maybe friends are going to a different place and they want to go there too, or maybe their parents have a history at a school and so they want to continue this tradition. And some schools have specialties, and so then depending on what people want to study, maybe they'll choose that university for its specialty. So it's their field of interest or their major, as we call it. We have private schools and we have public schools. And of course, there's a price difference. I think the difference between this general system and the Austrian system is that here in Austria, there's still this option of doing an apprenticeship or studying. And in the States, most people are funneled into the direction of studying. And we're going to have a big problem in the next years when we won't really have very many hand workers or craftsmen and women who can do work with their hands. So this is not the solution that everyone studies, but this is what's been created over the years in the States. So I absolutely see pros and cons of both systems.
I think you always hear that in America or in the US, a lot of people go into debt in very young years just to go to big universities. So
this is hard. This is really hard because nowadays university education is kind of the base level just to enter the workforce. And then if you do a master's later on, this is typical, you would work a bit and then go back for a master's. Then you have even more debt. And this is really hard.
It's like a huge problem, like from our standpoint, where it's basically free to go to university for as long as you want. I mean, not as long as you want, but like a long time.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, the whole system is set up differently because here in Austria, it's more of a socialized system, meaning there's a lot of taxes we're paying in. So something like 50+%. It's a lot. But then there's a lot coming back from the state. So I definitely see advantages to this.
True.
Yeah.
Then I have one more question for you, and that is, how much impact does one's social status have on everyday life?
This is a big question. Social status can be evaluated in a lot of different ways, whether you're talking about income or what, so conspicuous consumerism, this would be like what you show by what you're wearing or what you own and things like this. I personally believe that social status can also be demonstrated in a positive way through the way people communicate. And so learning how to communicate with different people at different levels, like the way you talk with your friends is a different way than how we're doing this interview versus how you speak with your boss or in a professional setting. And so knowing how to adjust, the technical word is register, how to adjust your register can really help your social standing or your status. It's a complex topic because some people are born into certain situations versus people born into other situations. But I do believe that in the States, there is the opportunity for everyone to rise up. The challenge is finding a mentor or someone who can, in the best way, hold your hand and kind of guide you to those next steps. So I have a good friend from Mexico. He immigrated to the United States, and I'm not sure exactly how he managed to do this, but he managed to learn how to communicate at all sorts of different levels. And so nowadays, when he's working, so he lays floors, and nowadays when he's working with clients of owners of very expensive houses, or when he's working with his team of employees, or when he's hanging out with his friends, he knows how to adjust how he speaks. And this is so valuable because it's like speaking a different language, basically, with different types of people.
That's really cool. I really admire people that can do that.
Yeah. And so he has the opportunity, if he wants to grow his business, he totally could into something so much bigger because he knows how to adjust the message for different people.
Yeah. Speaking of businesses, you mentioned before that you offer language coaching.
That's right.
So would you like to get into that?
I would love to share. So I am self-employed here in Austria. My company's name is Target Language Communication, and I offer business English language coaching. So I support individuals as well as groups with presentations, negotiations, business small talk, so that you can feel absolutely comfortable in your own skin speaking English. And I would love to support you if you're looking to develop your skills to be able to reach out to the world. Go ahead and contact me.
If anyone of you watching is interested, we are going to put the link to Michelle's business in our information box. For those of you who are just listening, the link to the website is
targetlanguage.at.
Before we wrap up our interview, I have a little sticker for you.
Ooh.
So here's a little sticker with the US flag on it.
Oh, thank you.
And you can put it on our suitcase behind you, where we kind of collect stickers from all our interview partners.
Nice. The stars and the stripes.
Yeah.
Cool. So we have 50 stars for the 50 states. And 13 stripes. Come on, baby. 13 stripes for the 13 original colonies. So, hop it up right there.
Nice!
Ta-da!
So, thank you for being here today. It was really nice talking to you.
Thank you, likewise. Thank you, Miriam. This was wonderful.
And thank you also to our listeners. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment if you have something to say, and subscribe to our channel for more episodes like this. See you in the next video.